Welcome to the Wise Take DFS podcast. I am your host, CK013. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013. And I'm joined once again by my good buddy, Patio Joe. You can find him on Twitter at Patio Joe Ref. That's REF. And yes, the ref portion is about to be active as we approach football season. Patio Joe, what's happening, bro?
Not much. I took the day off from playing DFS today, which was kind of a much needed. I just wanted to get away a little bit. I didn't even really. I hopped in the chat like for a second. I said a couple comments about you wearing the same hoodie and that and Fuego fucks like Arenado. Nobody seemed to get that. I didn't understand that, but I thought it was funny. So then I bounced out, but like I was just like I was so busy with my job. Like I said last week, how I had that big day. Well, like kind of comes around like a week later, I have to kind of like convert that. So, it was good to I still kind of followed it a little bit. Obviously, being with in texting and stuff, we always know what's going on with each other's nights, and your night is going pretty well, right? At least your cash game's going well, right?
Yeah, man, the cash game is going really well. Near the top in all the contests, $25 single entry on FanDuel, whatever. I didn't put it in a GPP, and the GPP I played was the $50 single entry, and so like I would have like more than min cash with my cash lineup, and I normally do. I just like the thing is with this slate, I only wanted to play X amount, but I liked GPPs and I wanted two different lineups, and I was only right about one of them. But I'll take it, bro. Win's a win. I'm fine. Yeah, it's cool. I'll take it. Yeah, man. It's good to take a little break once in a while, man. It's nice, and then you come back the next day just ready, and you can just clear, and you're like, you know what I mean? Like I know you were busy with other stuff, but even if you weren't, once in a while you take a day off, man. Just clear your head. It's nice, But
especially with like the season winding down too, and like you can
football.
Totally tell like. Your brain, I can really see the like almost tangible difference of like my brain switching slowly from baseball to football.
Yeah, you start calling like runs, points, shit like that.
If we weren't like doing this, like if I wasn't writing articles, and we were doing this podcast, like I would probably be playing a lot less right now and be like way more into football. But because we're doing this, it's good though because I think that there's spots to win and there's still some good money and some good tournaments to get in. It's just as you said, as the season gets closer to the end, it's going to be harder and harder because there's just going to be so much like value every night. There's going to be like 10 guys at 2K that are going to be batting second because it's September and the call ups happen.
Yeah, absolutely. You're 100% right, man. And it's the same thing with the pod, man. Like we're going to make the transition. More into football because like towards the end, like it's like you said with baseball towards the end of the season, as we discussed last time, it can get a little hectic. So the closer we get to the playoffs, everything will start to transition, even on the site, the podcast. But we still got some time, and you said it perfectly, bro. There's still some money to be made until then. So so especially through
the month of August. Yeah. For the next really the 2 weeks, and I think. Once until, I'd say probably through Labor Day and maybe the first week of the NFL season. And then once that happens, it's really going to slow down because teams will start clinching playoff berths and, doing this and doing that, getting ready for October. So I know that the hat that I'm wearing is already getting ready for October. So anyways, let's get into the slate, though.
Yeah, man. Let's do it.
The morning slate for you DK nuts out there. We've already talked before we started about how this is just FanDuel. What are you doing? Like, they split up these slates into 2 3-game slates. They do an all-day slate, and then they have a night slate. Like, why don't you just do – you could do that and then do just an early slate with all 6 games, and then you have a nice, sweet 6-game slate, and then later on you have a nice 9-game slate. It's very easy, FanDuel. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I really don't. It's people will play too.
Yeah.
They'll play all the slates.
They'll play.
Why not?
I would play FanDuel. But,
Yes.
I'm going to specifically play. I play more so on FanDuel, but tomorrow, obviously, I'm going to play this early slate. And I'm going to play it on DraftKings because I want 6 games. I don't want 3 or 2 or whatever. The nerve. You offer an all-day slate. You won't do 6 games?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I had another idea, and me and my bankroll, like it's always in my head.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be cool if one of the websites could say, okay, your bankroll is X amount, and then you can manage your bankroll into, I want to put X amount into my football bankroll, X amount into my baseball bankroll, X amount into my basketball. So then when you click NBA or NFL or MLB, it just clicks up, that's how much you have. So then you're just using that. Because when the sports blend, it's kind of tough. Like if you're going to be playing 2 sports in a day, like if you're going to play the Sunday slate and then you're going to play NFL, like it's kind of hard. Like it's a little bit different with the bankroll manager. If you could split it up, it might be a little bit easier.
That is true.
I don't know. It's just an idea.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's just,
that is true, man. Like somebody should make like an add-on for that shit or something. Or at least, because that makes a lot of sense. Like you want to make sure you're fully equipped, and like if you're not like good with numbers, you like just like how like some people need to have separate bank accounts to like pay their bills. Like this is for my bills, this is for my whatever. Yeah, man. Some people need it. It's the same thing, man. FanDuel is basically DraftKings, FanDuel. They're basically banks. Like you know what I'm saying? So it's like for like players, banks that allow you to make very risky investments that most of the time probably won't pay off.
Yeah. It's an
unregulated bank. It's basically what it is.
Yes, it's a thought. So, hey, listen, FanDuel, DraftKings, if you're out there listening, thank you, first of all.
Yes.
Join Wise Tank with the promo code podcast. Get 20% off. FanDuel, DraftKings, do it. And if not, hey, why don't we try that? Give me a call. We'll talk more.
We can talk. We can discuss this.
At Patio Joe Rep on Twitter.
On Twitter. All right, man. So let's talk about this early slate. We're going to cover the 6 games DraftKings perspective. Normally we keep it very neutral, but this we're going to talk specifically DraftKings. And then the main slate we'll go back to the neutral stuff. Ricky Nolasco of the Los Angeles Angels visiting Tanner Roark of the Washington Nationals.
Yeah, we're going to want to stack the Nationals tomorrow, especially Ryan Zimmerman. He has good BVP against Nolasco. Nolasco gives up home runs more than anybody in the major leagues, it seems like. I am all for the Nationals tomorrow. And then on the other side, Roark is a very weird, sneaky type of pitcher that can limit a team. That if you wanted to use him as a SP2 tomorrow, I don't hate it. I think there's maybe a little bit of a better option, but it's okay. And if you wanted to pick some of these Angels, obviously Trout or somebody as a one-off, I'm cool with that too.
Yeah, man, I think I'm with you there. I like to pick on Nolasco. The Nets, I think they still got they still have good hitters, right? Like Daniel Murphy, Zimmerman, like these guys are so capable. And because I'm not a fan of Nolasco, I think obviously Murphy. I hope Goodwin plays. If Goodwin plays, I think he could be interesting. But obviously, I'm with you on Roark too. He seems relatively safe against the Angels. Obviously, you're worried about Trout, but I'm with you. Matt Cain of the San Francisco Giants visiting Jose Urena of the Miami Marlins.
Yeah, this is another. I think I don't know how you can't play Stan tomorrow. He's 5,800. I mean, Trout's 5,700, but so I guess if you wanted to do a pivot, I guess Trout would be a good GPP option, but Stanton is the way to go tomorrow. Everybody's going to be playing him. Matt Cain is terrible. I don't know why he wouldn't homer off of Matt Cain. He's been, he's probably the worst pitcher that he's faced in this whole, So, and then on the other side, Urena is 7-4, another good SP2 option in cash or in a GPP because, the Giants are relative. They might not strike out a lot, but, they're not going to hit a lot of runs. And on DK, it's not all about strikeouts. If you just got to get outs and get points, if he can get you 15 points, I think you'd be okay.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. The whip is a lot more important on DraftKings. So you're right. In FanDuel, you're really looking at strikeouts because hits don't hurt you. But in DraftKings, you got to consider the whip. So yeah, Urena's a guy that he's learned by now. Like he doesn't have tremendous K upside, but he's learned how not to get roped. That's pretty valuable when you're looking at SP2 options that are cheap. I'm with you, man. I don't know, Stan, man. It's just like the guy I don't know what's going on with him, but he's just hitting home runs. It's great. It's fun. Whatever. But if, it's just like he just hit one off Matt Bum, and like now he gets mad. It just seems like one of those. Yeah, now everybody gets on him, right? Like they were on him, paid off the first day. The second day, everybody backed off because it was Mad Bum, and now everybody's gonna. I just feel like you can see it. Now everybody's going back to him.
Yeah,
and this is finally the time. He does nothing, and Matt Cain strikes him out 3 times. Like you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, that's just that's just me bullshitting. But yeah, it's very hard not to. How do you not play the guy? He's just been phenomenal, and Matt Cain is not good, and even though it's still a pitcher's park, it's not as good of a pitcher's park as Matt Cain pitches over in San Francisco. So, yeah, I think the whole Miami offense is certainly in play. Garrett Cole, the Pittsburgh Pirates, visiting Jimmy Nelson of the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah, well, here's where people are gonna probably get their cash game pitcher if they're playing cash, or one of their GPP pitchers tomorrow is going to be between one of these two. I'm kind of surprised that Cole is priced more than Nelson. I think just because maybe the Brewers strike out more, but I like Nelson better. Obviously, Nelson is a wise take favorite here, and Garrett Cole, he does have strikeout upside. I don't even mind if you wanted to play them both tomorrow because all the other options there's nobody else that like really you have to have either. So I'm down with that too. On the other side, I think that you can attack Garrett Cole with some of these lefty bats, and I'm off of the Pittsburgh Pirates tomorrow because I'd probably would be mostly all in on Nelson.
Oh man, I just found another SP2 that I think we're both going to find interesting.
Maybe, yeah, I think so.
I had to say that word real quick, but consciously though.
Yes, I think I know what you're talking about, but
yeah. I'm with you, man. We like Nelson usually. We always do. So I think he's in play, even though the Pirates don't strike out a ton. He's still, he does a pretty good job. He's one of those guys that has a chance to get it done even without the strikeouts. And we're talking DraftKings anyway. And Garrett Cole's very expensive. I know it's the Brewers. You expect them to get some strikeouts, but that's a high price. I would imagine in cash games that's where most people are going to go. But he's an underdog. He's not even a favorite. So it's like you're going to pay 11.8 for a guy that's an underdog. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's interesting. Damn, I said it again.
I agree.
Danny Duffy of the Kansas City Royals visiting Paul Blackburn of the Oakland Athletics.
Yeah, Duffy is another interesting tomorrow because I think people will overlook him. I think they won't even really go to him. And it's just, I don't really have anything to really go on that. I just think that because people either go to Nelson, and if they don't go to Nelson, they'll just keep going down more. But Duffy can do well against these A's. They'll probably throw out their righty-heavy lineup, which means that, if you don't want to play Duffy, if you want to play guys like Healy and Chapman and Chris Davis and, cash game porn and stuff like that, Rajay Davis, I'm for that too. So, it's one of those spots where you can go both sides, I think. And on the other side, Blackburn doesn't scare me at all. And I think you can attack him with Merrifield, Kane, Moustakas, Cabrera, and Hosmer.
Yeah, I'm with you on the Royals on the Royals there against Blackburn. Duffy just hasn't done it for me this year, man. Like I'm not afraid of him at all anymore. We've seen the A's completely mash lefties, guys like Rajay Davis, Semien, even Chris Davis is starting to come around. Pinder, Healy, like Chapman if he plays. Like all these guys are really designed like they're better against lefties for the most part, except for Chris Davis. But we mentioned, he's starting to turn it around a little bit. Against lefties. So yeah, I think I like the A side for sure, and I mean the Royal side, sure. But I think I'm not into Duffy tomorrow, man. I think there's a bunch of other guys that we have to pick from, and I don't think I want to go there. He hasn't shown me enough, and man, even Vegas ain't respecting him all that much, man. 4.3 for Oakland, is supposed to be one of the worst offenses in baseball, although they have been hot recently. But still, I don't respect him either. I'm with it. Ubaldo Jimenez of the Baltimore Orioles visiting Marco Gonzalez of the Seattle Mariners.
Yeah, I'm going to like the Orioles tomorrow. I think that you can stack this team. Machado is getting hot, and Scope Jones. I like them. On the other side, Ubaldo is like probably the ultimate GPP pitcher tomorrow. I don't want to say it, but he could put up a line that if you pair him with Nelson or Cole, maybe you could win. He's that like much of a wild card. That being said, you want to stack against him, you can, but I wouldn't full stack it. Maybe a double, maybe like just a mini stack. Ubaldo's kind of fallen into that Bartolo like kind of group where you kind of make fun of them, but they're not pitching bad, So that being said, I like the Orioles tomorrow.
Yeah, I think the Orioles are certainly in play, but I like the Mariners, man. Like, listen, I'm not even just trying to pick on Ubaldo. I played Ubaldo the last couple of starts he's had. I played him on DraftKings, but I only like Ubaldo when he's playing against a strikeout-prone team. That's the only time I want Ubaldo. And like, you have a point. He does have he's a ground ball guy. So sometimes the upside on approaching him, despite his WOBA numbers, it'll throw you off because he gets a lot of those ground balls. But like, he's priced at 8-4 on DraftKings. I think that's ridiculous for his matchup. Seattle is a team that does not strike out. They have a bunch of lefties. I like the Seattle offense a lot, man. Projected for 5.1 runs, but like you said, he has a way of limiting damage. So it's like, this is not a matchup in which I want to play him, especially not at that price. I'm not paying 8-4 for Ubaldo. I don't care how good he's been. But in reality, like, depending on the slate, I still would play Ubaldo, just not against the Mariners. I only play him against like the Tigers, like those the Padres, like those strikeout heavy teams. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think you're right. I think both bats here are certainly in play here. Nick Pivetta of the Philadelphia Phillies visiting Clayton Richard of the San Diego Padres.
Yeah, Pivetta, our boy,
dude.
That's the SP2. That's the boy to go for tomorrow.
He's an underdog too, man. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
no respect for the Phillies.
like literally, like he's probably the cash game and GPP SP2, like the leading one. You'd probably get the most ownership. That's why if you want to go to guys around that area, I don't think they'll be as high owned, and it'll be just to get off the board like Roark, Urena, even Richard has. There's like the Phillies don't have anybody that really scares me, and their best hitters are lefty hitters. So Richard's lefty, so if he can avoid like Cameron Rupp and Tommy Joseph, he might be interesting too. So. This game is what's the total? Is there a high total in this game?
Kinda, considering the ballpark and shit. I think it's like 8.5 or maybe 8.
That ain't that bad.
Is it 8 or 8?
So yeah, I don't know. I don't see it. I'm looking. That's why I'm asking you.
You.
I'm all for Pivetta tomorrow against these Padres.
Yeah, man, I'm with you. I'm definitely with you. I like Pivetta a lot. 7-1 on DraftKings. I think I'll be popular enough in cash games to where it might be worth the risk. I don't see too many people paying. I feel like people don't like to pay up unless they have to, right? Like, if it's a Kluber and Sale deal, like, you have to. But, like, this is a situation where I don't think Pivetta is that much far off from, like, a guy like Ubaldo, Tanner Roark, like some of the second options that we mentioned. And he's got the best matchup against the team. Don't get me wrong, the Padres have been kind of hot. Like, I'll admit that. They've been heating up a little bit. So maybe in tournaments you might want to maybe take a look at those Padres. But like in cash games, like I think people are just going to lock him in because you figure like when you talk about floors, if a guy can get a certain amount of strikeouts, you feel like they're relatively safe right there. Because then if you're getting strikeouts, you're basically giving yourself a cushion of like allowing yourself. So I feel like he should get some strikeouts because he's got some upside. He's coming off a terrible. I think against the Mets. Did the Mets rough him up? Is that what his last? I think so. Anyway, yeah, I like Pivetta, man. 7-1 is gonna be hard to get away from that in cash, but like it's only like it's a popularity play. You don't want to get burned by him. Like if he's popular in cash, then sure. If he's not popular in cash, then obviously you want to play him in tournaments. But I don't see why people wouldn't just assume it's the Padres. I'm gonna attack them. Either that, and let's look at Clayton Richard on the other side because he's been okay at limiting damage, and the Phillies have been pretty bad. The Milson, our boy Lamet is doing work tonight. Shutting them boys down.
That's right.
That's it.
That's right. Your son.
That's it. One of them. One of my
You have lots of children. Does your wife know about this? I don't know.
I got a very supportive wife, bro.
Yeah. Well, you did say that you're having family move to San Diego.
That is true. That is true.
They'll be able to look after Tennessee.
That's right, bro. That's right. We're expanding. That was up top.
So that's the day slate, right?
That's the day slate. It's time to move on.
Yay!
That's it. Time to move on to the main slate. At the end of the show, there was a request from one of our listeners on Twitter. He wanted us to kind of touch on the DraftKings. What's it called? That new thing, the new contest. Did you hear about what they did? They have like a new contest. It's like it's weird, kind of, but it's interesting.
All right, what are we looking for here?
It's like
I just want to know what I'm looking at. For baseball? Or?
Yeah, it's baseball. Pick'em? I think it's called Pick'em. I think that's what it is.
Oh, okay. I didn't see it yet. I mean, well, maybe it's for FanDuel. Are you sure it's for?
Yeah, it's definitely for DraftKings.
All right.
It's called MLB Pick'em, and the way it works is like there's no prices, but you have a T1 through T8.
Oh, here it is. MLB Pick'em. I see it.
So what we'll do is instead of the Dong Watch, what we're gonna do is try to build the lineup together. With them.
Pick'em, there is no sack. I just draft one player from each tier.
Yeah.
Smaller player pools mean you only draft from the players you know. Watch your points add up with their class. Okay.
Yeah, you see, it's pretty simple. So.
Oh yeah. They're trying to reinvent the fucking wheel.
Yes,
okay.
Trying to reinvent the wheel. So it seems like there's a couple people who listen to our show and they asked if we could touch on it. So instead of breaking it down, I figure we'll just instead of the Dong Watch at the end of the show, we'll just kind of try to build a lineup and just like.
All right, cool.
Just for fun and see how it goes.
This is for the main slate, right?
Yeah,
they're not doing it.
No.
Okay.
Well, either we're going to do the main slate. I'm not going to do the main slate. But anyway, let's finish up and hit up this main slate here, and then we'll get to that at the end.
Very, very interesting.
For sure.
Looking at this. Alrighty.
So.
Why not?
Jacob Faria of the Tampa Bay Rays visiting Marcus Stroman of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah, I think you come right out of the gate on two pitchers that you're going to want to look at tomorrow. Faria is a Y-stake favorite. He has shown to be very good almost every one of his starts. He's facing a team that doesn't really scare you as much. They have a few hitters. On the other side, Stroman's facing a team that's going to strike out a lot. What I want to see is how these Rays hit against sliders. If they hit well, then I might be a little bit off of Stroman. But if they don't hit the slider well, I'm going to be totally on Stroman. So take a look at that. As for that, I'm not really into any of these hitters tomorrow. Maybe one-offs for cash games or something, but I'm all about looking at these guys for pitching.
Yeah, I'm with you here. I think Stroman is he seems was he hurt? I feel like I haven't seen a pitch in a while.
No, he's pitching.
Pitching. He's just what it is. Like he usually goes like when all the other good pitchers are going, so you don't usually look at him, I guess. Yeah, Stroman definitely pops out, man. You're right, especially against these Rays that strike out a lot. Faria, I do like Faria. The problem is the Blue Jays really haven't been striking out. They've been heating up a little bit. So I don't necessarily want to pick on Faria because I do like the kid, but I don't know how much interest I have in playing him. I definitely think I prefer Stroman, maybe in like more of a cash game setting. I don't know what his DraftKings price is because the source that I'm using is not working. But on FanDuel he's 8-8, so certainly in play, he's not going to kill you. Jaime Garcia of the New York Yankees visiting Robert Gsellman of the New York Mets.
Yeah, I'm going to want a little Yankees tomorrow. I know you think Gsellman's a piece of shit, so I don't see why we can't just attack him.
I don't know personally. I don't think it's an issue. You're right. I don't think he's good, but I don't know him personally. To clear that up. I don't know. Maybe he's a cool guy.
No, I know. Well, it's okay. It's okay. Anyways, but like he's just coming off like the disabled is correct. Like he hasn't pitched in a while now, right? Like
you're right.
I haven't seen his ass. Yeah. So he's facing the Yankees in in Citi Field. Yeah, I'm all about just taking the Yankees bats and shoving it right up of his ass tomorrow, and getting some Yankees exposure. The fact is they just haven't been that hot lately, so I'm going with just a little mini stack then of the Yankees. Yeah, but I will want to have something.
They beat up a little bit on DeGrom, man. They got to him a little bit. The more important thing is they weren't striking out. Like DeGrom was not getting the Ks, and then he started giving up runs. Like he went deep in the game, so I guess it was whatever. But he was like, I think Gary the Goat hit a home run off him, and we talked about how he's been red hot and all this stuff. I'm with you. I think the Yankees are definitely in play. I'm not a big fan of Giselle. Not a lot of K upside there, and at the same time, I think that the Mets are also interesting. Coming back home, the young guys, Rosario and Dominic Smith, I think both hit home runs today. Those are the Mets' 2 prospects that they called up this year. The youth, exactly, the youth. It could have given me a little spark. So there, I have some, but like you said, I think you nailed it. Like my interest in this game is like, yeah, I might want 1, maybe 2 guys from either team. I don't think I want 4 or 5 of either team, but definitely maybe 1, 2, maybe even 3. Lance Lynn of the St. Louis Cardinals visiting Eduardo Rodriguez of the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah, and the Red Sox just put it on the cards tonight, didn't they? Yeah. Last I checked, it was a
death by singles.
So Lynn is susceptible to lefties. So I don't, Benintendi and Moreland, some of those lefties I'm interested. But Rodriguez, that's another guy. I might take some of these righty bats of the Cardinals, Pham or DeJong, but that's about it. Nothing really big in this game.
Yo, I know I'm getting off topic again with this BVP shit. I just saw Giancarlo Stanton's numbers against Matt Cain, dude.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, it's right. 8 for 22 overall. 4 home runs. Man. We might have to play Stanton. We might have to play him. It might be at least in cash, right? In cash, you might just have to play. Even if he just gets walked 4 times, you might still have to play the guy. Okay, Eduardo Rodriguez. Yeah, he's a guy that I want to play him. Like I do like him. It's just you haven't really found the right spot to play him, and I think I might have missed it. Like he did okay in his last start, and I didn't play him, and I think I might have missed the boat because the Cardinals they didn't do too well today against Porcello, but for one, that's Porcello, and 2, their offense in general seems to kind of be clicking. Like they didn't get shut out. They put up 4 runs at the end of the day. It's just like you said, the Red Sox just beat them the hell up. So. With that said, I think you can sort of look at some of these Cardinals, maybe like DeJong, Molina. He's been having a phenomenal year, and nobody's really playing him. I think those guys are certainly in play. And, yeah, like you said, Lance Lynn, his weakness is righties. Devers, that dude's red hot, man. He had some more singles and all that stuff today, so definitely get some exposure to him. And he's only 3.7, I think, on FanDuel, which still isn't that bad considering how hot he's been. Homer Bailey of the Cincinnati Reds visiting John Lackey of the Chicago Cubs.
This is an appetizing game. This is the double stack.
Oh, we haven't heard that one in a while, man.
Yes, this is a double stack for sure. I mean, you got crappy Bailey and crappy Lackey. I mean, in Wrigley, you could take all the bats. Every bat. I mean, even the pitchers, if you could. I'm just kidding. But, no, I really like this game. I think it'll be just as chalky as any game there is on the slate, if not the chalkiest. And I don't know if you can fade it either side. It can be really good tomorrow.
Yeah, man. Definitely. Homer Bailey. It's Homer Bailey. He's not Luis Castillo. Yo, I played Luis Castillo in my GPP lineup today. He did phenomenal for me, man. I couldn't ask for his price. He did phenomenal. The hitters obviously didn't do well. My cash game was fine. I played Lamet in cash. It was whatever. But in GPPs, I rolled him out, man. He was 72, got me like 43. Did a great job against the Cubs. Homer Bailey is not Luis Castillo. I expect the Cubs to kind of wake up a little bit here and come back. This is a good opportunity for him. Lackey, wow. Lackey's gotten super cheap. It's amazing. He's really, really fallen off this year, huh?
The funny thing about Lackey, though, is that he hasn't given up more than 3 earned runs in any start since June 28th when he got lit up for 8 runs. Yeah. So he's limited damage.
Yeah.
The last few starts, so
right.
maybe just a mini stack for the Reds, but Cubs all the way. Just
I think you're right with the Reds. We could look at a mini stack. I think it looks like Hamilton's had some success both getting on base and then stealing bases once he's on. Looks like he has 7 total stolen bases against them.
That's good.
Yeah, for sure. And then Kozar's got 2 home runs, 7 for 18. Joey Votto's 7 for 24 with 2 home runs. So Scooter's 9 for 24 himself with a home run. So like those 4, like even maybe not playing all 4 of them, but like mixed, like picking 2 and kind of just, one thing I like to do, and I think it's because I'm weird, but I like, for some reason, like if I can't decide, like if I want to do a mini stack and there's 4 guys I like from a team, but I only want to do a mini stack, is I'll typically skip one, and I'm not recommending it. It's just something I do. I'll do a 1-3 or a 2-4. Like I keep the odd numbers or the even numbers. Like I don't know why. I don't like doing 1-2. Or like 3-4. I don't. It's rare to me that you see a back-to-back home run. It's like, you know what I mean? But that's not necessarily good advice. That's just something that I deal with, my own personal issues. I have to try not to do that from time to time. Bats away. Anibal Sanchez of the Detroit Tigers visiting Cole Hamels of the Texas Rangers.
Yeah, this is another juicy matchup tomorrow. Anibal is just getting lit up now again, and I think we can attack him with these Rangers bats, righties and lefties. So get these Rangers bats, put them on the list. On the other side, I think you can do like a little mini stack with these Tigers bats with the righties because Hamels, his hard contact rate is just through the roof lately.
Man, it's not right. Cole Hamels is surviving like in the worst fashion. He's not providing the K upside that he used to have back when people thought he was good. And yet he's not getting rocked lately. It's very frustrating. I think this is a spot. This is not a good matchup for him. The Tigers, 1, as you said, they're heavily right-handed. They're very good against righties. 2, it's about to be 100 degrees again because it's Texas and it's always 100 freaking degrees there. And 3, Cole Hamels ain't striking nobody out, and that's kind of the Tigers' weakness is strikeout. So if you're not striking him out, you're giving him an opportunity to hang around there and foul the ball off. Eventually, they're going to get a hold of one of these pitches coming from the lefty. So I think Kinsler's a great spot for Kinsler, Matuk, Upton, even Miggy Castellanos. Like this whole freaking team, like McCann, Castellanos, Mickey. Like this is the one team on the slate that I would consider doing like a full game stack up. I still prefer mini stacks. I think just because there's still 9 games. I prefer full stacks. I'll pick a side when there's less games, just assuming one team's going to go off. But yeah, I like this team a lot. The Rangers, of course, 6.1 implied run total. Anibal Sanchez, you nailed it. He's been back to being ass again after having like 1 good game. So yeah, I think both these bats are in play, but I think more people will be inclined to play the Rangers and the Tigers. So I like the Tigers. Justin Upton's just been phenomenal against lefties, just absolutely crushing. Taiwan Walker of the Arizona Diamondbacks visiting Charlie Morton of the Houston Astros.
I think I like the Astros just a little bit tomorrow, and I think I like Morton for GPP because we all know how these Diamondback bats go cold once they're away from Chase Field. So I think Morton is a sneaky GPP option tomorrow. I don't know how much of his upside he has, but I like it enough to want to roster him. His price isn't that expensive on FanDuel. So he is 8.5. That's not that bad. So I like that. I mean, he's the 5th lowest on the slate. That's not that bad. And then Walker, guys that hit fastballs, just load up. Springer, Altuve, Bregman, where he's hitting. Reddick. I like them. I like these Astros bats tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like the Astros bats. Situation where they were the only early game, so a lot of people probably didn't pay attention to them today, but they went nuts. They put up a bunch of runs down in Arizona. Now they get Walker, who, like you said, he's typically a little better away, but most of them are. It's like Greinke's like the only one that has like a better K rate at home and pitches, has some kind of advantage there, but everybody else is better on the road usually. But the Astros, I think they finally gotten over their little cold streak. I think people are frustrated with playing them, and we talked about all these other spots that people might want to go to. So I think they're in play. I also think Morton's in play for tournaments. You have to remember they're coming out of Arizona from the elevation, so you have a little bit of an adjustment. The park's a little bit bigger in general in Houston. So I think Morton, he's a ground ball guy anyway. So even if he doesn't, even if he's not mowing him down, maybe there's a chance he doesn't get as blown up or as beat up here in Houston. So I think he's he's in play. He's only 8.5 on FanDuel too. So I think Morton's definitely an option in tournaments.
Yeah.
Carlos Carrasco of the Cleveland Indians visiting Kyle Gibson of the Minnesota Twins. Looks like we could have some light rain here potentially.
Yeah, we talked about this last time. How Kyle Gibson just doesn't get lit up that often, so you don't really want to attack him. He just doesn't. His price is low. He's the second lowest on the slate, but yet he's only given up more than 3 earned runs 3 times in his last 10 or 15 starts. He just doesn't give up that much. He doesn't get blown up. So. Proceed with caution, maybe a smaller stack here. On the other side, Carrasco, we all know that he's better on the road. So Salazar just shut them down. I don't see why you couldn't have a little bit of Carrasco tomorrow, maybe for GPP. He's not really cash game. I don't really like him for cash. But yeah, he's a decent pivot away from maybe some of the other pitchers in that area.
Yeah, I think you're right. He's a big favorite. It's the Twins. The Twins didn't look so hot against Salazar. They struck out a bunch. Carrasco has huge K upside. He's having a pretty solid year, at least on the road he is. He's been phenomenal on the road. We talk about that all the time. So I'm with you there. It doesn't look like the Carrasco's seen the Twins enough because they play close, and he's still doing all right. Sano's got decent numbers, Mauer, Rosario, but But either way, it's not that bad. So, we've seen a lot worse situations. I would imagine the Indians would be fairly popular. Kipnis, I know, Joe, you were really big. Both of us were tired.
All I said was Kipnis today, right?
Yeah. You popped in. You said play Kipnis and cash, and then you hopped out. I had you covered, though. I had him in the article. I had you covered today, bro.
He was 2,400.
Yeah, 2,400. I even said on DraftKings, I was like, he's 3K on DraftKings too. So you have no excuse not to play this guy. Whichever site you're playing, and you're playing cash games, you have no excuse not to play this guy. And so that was a good call, Joe. And it looks like he has decent BVP, 9 for 20 with a home run. Yan Gomes, 9 for 20 with 2 home runs. And then E5 is 6 for 15 with 3 home runs. So I would imagine that they're going to see some ownership. So maybe in cash games, we might have to go back to Kipnis, something like that, or E5 or some of these guys. But I think you're right. In tournaments, Kyle Gibson, especially lately, he just hasn't really been getting all that blown up. And there's just so many good spots that I don't think I want to full-on stack either of this. Although, when you think about it, one thing we know about the Twins is their bullpen is complete ass. So it's maybe that'll change tomorrow when we dig in a little bit. I don't know. Michael Fultonevich of the Atlanta Braves visiting John Gray of the Colorado Rockies.
What's the line for this game?
I see the Rockies minus 153.
What's the total? Is there a total?
Yes, I think it's 11.5 or 11, something like that.
Yeah, it's lower than normal.
Yeah. Well, Fulty's been pitching really well lately, and John Gray's one of their better
pitchers. Gray pitches better at home.
Yeah. Or he's one of their better pitchers, yeah.
I mean, I think that you can fade. I think you could do whatever you want tomorrow. If you want to play this game, you can play this game. If you don't, you don't have to. There's other places to go. I think you can fade it. Coors hasn't been great. It's still, even tonight, right? It's not even going off tonight, right?
It's just been like another ballpark. Couple guys hit home runs.
It's really been. Yeah. So, I don't really like it. I mean, I think probably, somebody's gonna come back from his break tomorrow and go, hey, yo, Gray, Cargo, Story, lock it up, championship. That's all he's gonna say.
Lock it up,
that's
championship.
Hey, yo. Hey, yo. Gray, Cargo, Story, lock it up, championship. That's the 5 things you do tomorrow.
I do think the Rockies are in play because Fulty's been so good. So I think Freeman, Fulty, I think Freeman's gonna get a home run at some point, and this is finally a spot where man, Coors didn't go off with all those shitty pitchers pitching. Now 2 of the better ones are going. Just the total's lower, forget it. So if that happens, I'll definitely want some exposure. But man, Coors is it's been every other game. That's hasn't been terrible to where there's no value at all, but it hasn't been worth paying up for because it's been like any other game. A couple guys hit a home run, and that's pretty much it, man. Like, it hasn't been what it was. But, of course, tomorrow could be the day. It's just one of those.
What happened? Arenado, right? Arenado was home run, right? First at bat, and that was it,
right? Yes, he did. First at bat, didn't do shit the rest of the game, but he got his 18. He was like 50%
what did I say?
off. That's it.
I was like, home run Arenado, right? It was easy. That was easy. But yeah, I think Fulte though, like he has like the upside to do well, but then you can also just take a big old fat dump on himself too.
Yeah, we've seen him do both. We've seen him have phenomenal ace quality games, and we've seen him have Matt Cain type games.
Yeah, so I think if you want to go there, I say why not?
Yeah, for sure. Carlos Rodon of the Chicago White Sox visiting Yu Darvish of Patio Joe's Los Angeles Dodgers.
Well, he finally gets his first start at home as a Dodger. I've told you the last 2 times to stack against him. This time, I'm telling you, he is your cash game pitcher tomorrow against these White Sox. He's the highest favorite. I will say this, though. Carlos Rodon, I am fading the Dodgers tomorrow. I think Rodon is good enough to keep this Dodger lineup down. He has pitched great. If you look at his game logs lately, he is really coming into his own this year after starting on the disabled list. His price is 7.7, and he's pitched his last 3 starts. He's thrown 6 2/3, 7 2/3, and 8. So they're stretching him out every single start. If he can get some strikeouts tomorrow, he might be a decent GPP option that nobody's going to have just on strictly the Dodgers alone. So if you want a pitcher that's lower down the totem pole, I like Rodon. I think it's time to get on his train. I mean, if you look at his game logs, like his last game was 34 points, but he pitched 8 innings against a good White Sox team. He just didn't strike out a lot of guys. And then 54 against Boston, 48 against Cleveland. I'm telling you, he's somebody to look at tomorrow. And Yu Darvish, I'm all in on him for cash tomorrow. And he's also definitely a good chance to be the highest on the slate. Good chance to get 10 strikeouts. Yeah. The problem is that he's got to be able to go longer. His last start, we were watching it. He only went 5 innings. So if he didn't get those 10 strikeouts, he would not have produced his value.
Yeah, he had a lot of pitch count issues that game against the D-backs. Which
it was a D-back. Yeah. That was a Mets, but he had the D-back down.
Yeah, he crushed the Mets. He completely crushed the Mets.
Yeah.
Darvish, I'm with you. Cash game pitcher, biggest favorite on the slate by far. That's like, you hit it on the head. Rodon, man, I'm with you there too. I like that as a cheap GPP play. GPP's only for sure, but I like it there. The Dodgers, I'm not so like, okay, maybe now they can start to hit the bad lefties, but Rodon's a pretty good lefty, so it's a whole different story. Let's see if they can hit a good lefty. Mm-hmm. They got to prove it to us in this bigger ballpark. I think I don't want any of the bats in this game from either side. Darvish, perfect cash game play. Even on DraftKings, if you wanted to do the 1-2 punch with Darvish and Rodon, I'm not exactly sure how much Rodon is on DraftKings, but on FanDuel he's pretty cheap, so I think you could probably make it work. But man, that's pretty much it. That's 2 slates right there, man. So
that's what we do.
It's what we do. And so what we're gonna do now, as a favor to via request, instead of playing a dog watch like we normally do, we're just gonna build a lineup together. You pull up DraftKings and this pick'em thing, and we'll look at it.
T1 through T8, I got it right here.
So it looks like the T1 and the T2 are starting pitchers. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
All right. So salary's not a thing. Who do we want between Carrasco, Faria, Stroman, Hamels, or Morton? I feel like Carrasco. If price isn't a thing, why wouldn't we take Carrasco, right?
I wouldn't mind. I was saying maybe Morton.
We could take Morton with the second slot because is there
no? He's not on. No, then we got to go.
Oh, is there a separate tier there? Okay, let's go with Morton then. Okay, you're right. I like Morton better because we're setting a GPP build, so I like Morton better. I thought we could have them both. That's a great point. So they have different tiers.
So T2.
Rodon? Are we going Rodon tier 2?
T2, yeah, we're going Rodon.
Rodon tier 2. I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. I'm digging it.
T3.
Looks like we have outfielders, first baseman, and a couple third base. We have E5, Bryant, Votto, Judge, Goldie, Blackman, Freeman, Arenado.
I'm going E5.
Let's go E5. I'm with you there against Gibson. He's got the BVP there. And like this is a situation where I feel like most people when you're playing this are probably going to go after the most expensive guys normally because they can play them without a salary restriction. So a guy that's maybe a little cheaper could be more of an overlooked GPP play, Like E5. I doubt he'll be played in this format. People will go Arenado. Everybody's going to go Arenado if they can. Or Freeman even. T4, Ron.
Yeah, T4. I say either Beltre or Benintendi.
Let's go with Beltre because it looks like there's a day-to-day next to Benintendi's name. And Beltre also has some solid BVP against Anibal. So let's go there. I think most people might go with Gary the GOAT in this spot.
Yeah.
But I don't want to take a catcher if I don't have to.
Oh, wow. Look at T5. Ooh.
Oh, wow. It's a big
I'm going with Rizzo.
Rizzo against Homer Bailey. Yes,
I gotta have.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
T6.
T6. We got some first base outfielders. Joey Gallo's here. Smoke, Duval, Betts, Pham. Upton. Should we go Upton?
No, Gallo.
Gallo over Upton.
I like Gallo over Upton.
He has been red hot.
And it's not like you can't do a stack.
Yeah, because you do have Beltre, so technically you could do a little Texas stack. Devers, Nunez, Didi. We're looking at T7 now.
Devers, Nunez, Didi.
Devers, right? I feel like we have either Didi or Devers. Oh no, we can go Bregman. We can go Bregman here.
Depends on who he's.
Walker. He's against Walker.
Yeah.
It's either him or Devers. Those are like, in my opinion, those are the only two ways. Unless we go right, because like we don't want to play the Dodgers because we put in Rodon. Would you want Devers? He's been.
Yeah, no. I can go with Bregman. Right. Let's go with Bregman tomorrow.
Bregman it is, and then T8.
Wow, this is kind of fun.
Yeah, it is kind of fun actually.
A little different,
I think Kinsler from this list.
Or
DeJong. Kinsler or
DeJong.
DeJong.
Okay,
here we go. There you go. And there you have it. So Charlie Morton, Carlos Rodon, E5, Beltre, Rizzo, Gallo, Bregman, DeJong. So it's interesting. When you think about it.
It's fun. Yeah. This is something new. Yeah. You know what I would do is I would just play something. I would just play it and I wouldn't really put heavy money into it. No. I would just do hey, let's just put it into something. Yeah, it's fun,
Just to root with your buddies. If you were gonna have a friend, hey, man, want to play a quick friendly game or something this is the more way to keep it fair. There's no salaries involved. Just pick.
This is way dumbing it down.
But it's fun and there is a gamesmanship eventually you could build. I'm sure that you'll see it's a thing. People are going to be more inclined to play the more expensive people, the people that are DraftKings people, because they're never able to play those guys all the time on DraftKings. So now they will. So to be contrarian, look for value guys that are they're cheap on our site because it's not exciting to play them on a format like this. So
yeah, look for the guy when you look in the tier and you're like, why would I play that guy?
Yeah,
that's why you play. That's why because he's on there.
That's why
because they don't put everybody on there.
Right. It's limited options.
You know what I mean? Limited options.
Yep.
So
you get one shot to take a guy. If you don't take him in that round, you can't take him at all. That was fun, man. Hey, I appreciate it, Joe.
No problem, guys.
All right. So if you're watching on YouTube, please click that thumbs up. That like button means a lot to us. Subscribe to the channel. It matters. So please hook us up. If you're listening on Podbean, give us a follow. If you're listening on iTunes, give us some 5-star reviews. Bump us up those charts. It really means a lot. The highest rating you can. And of course, subscribe to the channel there. You don't have to look at us if you don't want to. It's fine. I don't see why you wouldn't want to look at us. But if you don't want to look at us, that's cool. Except for I think there's one guy who I don't think he likes the way I look too much. But that's a whole other story, Joe. Anyway, Joe, brother, I appreciate it, man.
You got it, man. It was fun, guys. Good luck tomorrow. I won't be on the live stream, but I will be probably in chat tomorrow, and I will be writing my cash game article for the main slate.
There you have it. Tomorrow we'll have the return of Paulie 8Ds, a.k.a. Paulie D, back from a Chicago trip. We can hear from him. He'll be on a live stream, and he'll be bringing the GPP articles back. And also, don't forget, Joe will be writing a straight cash homie, so be on the lookout for that. Anyway, guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, whichever format you're doing. We really appreciate it. It means a lot to us. And for Joe, for myself, as always, good luck.
Peace.